Everybody, shut up. Shut up. All right, listen, look. Shut your mouth. Listen, Scoot is talking, all right? So I just want to show this because I think it's ridiculous, some of the things that people believe. So before we read this, there have been continuous notions from Spurs Nation that if Scoot or Wemby comes to the Spurs, that they're just going to leave. I mean, really doomer stuff, right? Especially, I think Kawhi Leonard really messed up our fan base, where people just believe, or they have this idea that players on our team is like always leaves. That does no, it doesn't. It doesn't happen. It's not that. It's not that. It's very rare. Okay, it doesn't happen all the time like you think it does. It's just that the Kawhi Leonard situation was that bad. But we don't have a bunch of players that come to the Spurs and then they just leave us because they can't take it anymore. And here's the thing. Okay. Well, let's just read what he has to say about the Spurs. The Spurs team, they have a lot of young guys to compete in the next few years, so it'll be dope to see them grow as a team. So yeah, that was his comments on the San Antonio Spurs. And Tom Osborne says this came in a reply to a question about Jeremy Sohan and his thoughts on the Spurs in general. So yeah, those are his thoughts on the Spurs in general. Here's the thing. Okay. I've seen quite a few Scoot Henderson interviews. He doesn't say a ton, but I'll say this. He is very confident, like very confident. Okay. But if he came to the San Antonio Spurs, he would bring his own traffic. Like, a lot of people worry about this. Like, oh, if he goes to the Spurs, he's just going to leave. He brings his own traffic. He's literally Scoot Henderson. Okay. He already has a fan base. If he goes to the San Antonio Spurs, one thing that I've noticed about our organization is they do a phenomenal job of keeping guys. They do a phenomenal job of convincing guys to stay. Like, while everyone wants to focus on Kawhi Leonard leaving and Steven Jackson just won't stop talking about the Spurs, I'm sorry. Duncan stayed. The Spurs were able to convince him to stay. And not only that, LaMarcus Aldridge, he has some doubts. He was able to stay. So there's not a bunch of players that just leave San Antonio and just leave us high and dry. Okay. Even the Kawhi Leonard situation, I am fully confident that Kawhi Leonard will still be with the Spurs if the Spurs and Popovich was able to talk to him. I don't know if you guys know this, and don't get me wrong, we don't know when Pop is going to retire. So I think that's, a genuine thing to worry about. But Popovich went to meet Kawhi. Okay. He was going to go talk to Kawhi, like face to face, just them two. And what ended up happening was Kawhi Leonard's Uncle Dennis, came along and he talked the entire time. So yeah, it was not productive at all. And everyone knows that that's basically what happened. So with that being said, yeah, it was nothing that he could have done. But I do believe that if he had that talk with Kawhi, he probably could have convinced him to go ahead and stay. So I just wouldn't worry about it too much. And also, a lot of the rookies, a lot of players that go to teams, and they're really, really good, and the bag is there, obviously, they get extensions. So we're talking a player be with the Spurs for about, at the very least 6 years. I mean, how long? I mean, Kawhi's Leonard are considered like a Spurs great, right? Let's see. Years with Spurs. I mean, because Kawhi wasn't with us that long. Let's see. And we'll just do it this way. Here we go. So we can see here. So this is rookie year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was with the Spurs for 7 seasons, which was really like 6 seasons because we know what happened that last season, right? So he was with the Spurs for about 6 seasons. You got a championship out of it. He's considered one of the best Spurs to ever walk the earth, right? So like, I wouldn't worry about it that much, all right? If he did leave in his mid-20s, Scoot left or whatever, yeah, that will really suck. And I don't think it would even be his mid-20s at that point. Let's see, he's 17, 18, yeah. Well, it'd be close to his mid-20s. It just doesn't matter. I think it's all silly. I wouldn't worry about it too much. And as it stands, lots of times these players just get extensions anyway. And he's verbalized now that he would like to play for the Spurs. Also, keep in mind, or that he's cool with the team, like he likes the team. But keep in mind this as well, okay? Jeremy Sohan is a glue guy. And he seems to be, at least from what we've seen thus far, really easy to work with, really easy to play with, and a pretty good teammate, right? Malachi Branham's going to get only better. And a lot of rookies that come in, they're not necessarily worried or obsessed with their brand. Now, Shaedon Sharpe, he came into the league pretty obsessed with his brand already, but a lot of players, Johnny Davis too, but a lot of players, when they go to the NBA, that's not their first priority. Their first priority is getting better, growing. And I could see Scoot Henderson going to the Spurs and genuinely enjoying it. And another thing too, one thing that we have on our side that maybe a lot of other franchises don't, is that we got banners. Okay, we have history. So it's a rich history there. And a lot of these guys go there and they want to live up to that history. That's the same thing Jeremy Sohan said. And yeah, I wouldn't see it any other way with different players. So just want to bring this to your attention. Oh, last thing, forgot to bring this up. Josh Giddey, he talked about Sohan and he said, I went to pick him up. He was talking about a time in which Jeremy Sohan was trash talking, and that's what he kind of likes about him. He said, I went to pick him up on one game and he didn't take my hands. So there was a bit of back and forth there, but it's all fun. He is a great dude. So once again, another evidence of he's a guy that you want to play with, but not against. So, but yeah, just wanted to bring that to your attention. What's that? Steven Jackson got to check in next time he come to San Antonio. Oh, that's funny. That's pretty funny. All right. Yeah.